Have you noticed those moments when you walk into a room and suddenly can't remember why you're there? Or when the name of your neighbour's grandchild slips your mind, even though you were just introduced last week? If you're in your 80s or approaching them, these moments might worry you more than they used to. You're not alone. Every day in my practice, I see patients with the same concerns, the same fears about what these small lapses might mean. But what if I told you that many of these cognitive hiccups might not be the inevitable march of aging at all? What if instead they could be linked to something as simple as a vitamin deficiency, something that could be addressed, improved, and in many cases reversed with the right approach? After decades in medicine, I've seen remarkable transformations in my oldest patients when we address one specific, often overlooked nutrient. It's a vitamin that nearly 43% of adults over 80 are deficient in, yet it's rarely the first thing checked when memory concerns arise. Today, I'm going to share with you the surprising vitamin that my colleagues and I have seen work wonders for brain health in your golden years. This isn't some new miracle drug or expensive therapy. It's a nutrient your body has needed all along, but one that becomes critically important as you age. Stay with me because this information could be the difference between struggling with cognitive issues and maintaining the sharp, vibrant mind you deserve to enjoy throughout your 80s and beyond. The brain changes as we age. That's an undeniable fact of human biology. But the degree and speed of those changes? That's where we have more control than most people realize. In your 80s, you might notice your processing speed isn't quite what it used to be. Perhaps you need a bit more time to learn new information, or multitasking doesn't come as easily. These changes are normal and don't necessarily signal the beginning of dementia or serious cognitive decline. What many people don't realize is that there's a vast difference between normal age changes and pathological decline. Unfortunately, our society often lumps all cognitive changes together under the frightening umbrella of losing your mind. This perspective isn't just inaccurate, it's harmful. It creates unnecessary fear and can actually lead to increased stress, which, ironically, can worsen cognitive function. The truth is much more hopeful. Research consistently shows that the brain maintains neuroplasticity, the ability to form new connections and even grow new neurons throughout life. Yes, even in your 80s and 90s, your brain can still adapt, learn, and improve with the right support. And that's where nutrition plays a crucial role. Your brain is an energy-hungry organ. Despite making up only about 2% of your body weight, it consumes approximately 20% of your body's energy and requires a constant supply of nutrients to function optimally. As we age, our ability to absorb and utilize certain nutrients changes, creating vulnerabilities that can manifest as cognitive challenges. Contrary to popular belief, many aspects of cognitive decline aren't inevitable. They're preventable and sometimes even reversible when we address the underlying nutritional deficiencies. And the most significant of these deficiencies in older adults, the one I've seen transform patients' lives when properly addressed, is a vitamin that deserves far more attention than it typically receives. So what is this crucial nutrient that can make such a difference in brain health during your 80s? It's vitamin B12 cobalamin, a water-soluble vitamin that plays essential roles in brain function, nerve health, and the creation of DNA and red blood cells. While it might not sound particularly exciting or exotic, B12's impact on cognitive function in older adults can be nothing short of remarkable. Why is B12 so critical, especially as you enter your 80s? This vitamin is fundamental to myelin synthesis, myelin being the protective sheath that surrounds your nerve fibers and enables them to conduct signals efficiently. Think of myelin like the insulation around electrical wires. When it degrades, signals get disrupted, leading to cognitive and neurological symptoms that are often mistakenly attributed simply to getting older. B12 is also crucial for the metabolism of homocysteine, an amino acid that, at high levels, is associated with increased risk of dementia, Alzheimer's disease, and stroke. Without sufficient B12, homocysteine levels rise, potentially damaging blood vessels in the brain and reducing blood flow to critical areas involved in memory and thinking. What makes B12 particularly relevant to seniors is that its absorption becomes increasingly difficult with age. After age 50, many people begin to produce less stomach acid, an intrinsic factor, both essential for B12 absorption. By your ATS, this reduction can be significant enough to cause deficiency, even if your diet contains adequate B12. Studies published in the Journal of the American Geriatrics Society have found that up to 43% of adults over 80 may be deficient in B12, with many more having suboptimal levels that aren't low enough to trigger standard alerts on blood tests, but are insufficient for optimal brain health. This makes B12 deficiency one of the most common, yet overlooked contributors to cognitive changes in older adults. The most fascinating aspect of B12's relationship with brain health is how it actually works within your neural systems. When B12 levels are optimal, it facilitates several critical processes that directly impact how you think, remember, and process information. First, B12 is essential for methylation, a biochemical process that occurs billions of times every second in your body. Methylation affects everything from how your genes express themselves to how your neurotransmitters function. These neurotransmitters, chemicals like serotonin, dopamine, and acetylcholine, are your brain's communication system. When methylation is compromised due to B12 deficiency, these chemical messengers can't do their jobs effectively, leading to cognitive fog, mood changes, and memory difficulties. Second, B12 is critical for energy production within your brain cells. Your neurons require enormous amounts of energy to fire properly. B12 helps convert the food you eat into the form of energy your brain cells can use. Without adequate B12, your neurons essentially become energy-starved, leading to slower thinking, difficulty concentrating, and problems with recall. Third, and perhaps most impressive, B12 helps maintain the actual physical structure of your brain. Multiple studies have shown that older adults with lower B12 levels have greater brain atrophy and more white matter lesions, damaged areas in the brain associated with cognitive decline. In contrast, those with optimal B12 levels tend to maintain better brain volume and structure as they age. This is particularly relevant for conditions that become more common in your ATS. For instance, research published in Neurology found that B12 deficiency can mimic or exacerbate symptoms of dementia. In fact, in some cases, what appears to be early dementia is actually a B12 deficiency that, when corrected, leads to significant cognitive improvement. B12's neuroprotective effects also extend to balance and coordination, which are crucial for preventing falls, a major concern for adults in their ATS. The vitamin helps maintain the health of your proprioceptive system, the network that tells your brain where your body is in space. When this system is compromised due to B12 deficiency, dizziness, unsteadiness, and fall risk increase substantially. Perhaps most encouraging is that unlike some aspects of aging, the neurological effects of B12 deficiency can often be improved or reversed if caught early enough. The myelin sheath can be repaired, energy production can be restored, and neural communication can be optimized when B12 levels are brought back to normal. This is why identifying and addressing this deficiency is such a powerful intervention for brain health in your ATS. How do you know if you might be deficient in this crucial brain nutrient? The challenge with B12 deficiency is that it often develops slowly over years, with symptoms that can be subtle and easily attributed to normal aging or other health conditions. This is why it frequently goes undiagnosed, especially in older adults. The cognitive symptoms of B12 deficiency can include difficulty finding words, problems with memory recall, confusion, difficulty reasoning, and changes in mood, particularly depression or irritability. Many of my patients describe it as a mental fuzziness that they can't quite shake, or a sense that their brain isn't working as efficiently as it used to. Beyond cognitive symptoms, B12 deficiency can manifest physically in ways you might not expect. These can include tingling or numbness in the hands and feet, peripheral neuropathy, difficulty with balance and coordination, fatigue that doesn't improve with rest, weakness, pale or yellowish skin, a smooth or sore tongue, and digestive issues. What makes B12 deficiency particularly tricky is that symptoms often appear gradually and don't occur in isolation. You might attribute the tingling in your feet to sitting too long, the fatigue to a poor night's sleep, and the memory lapses to senior moments. It's only when these symptoms are viewed together that the pattern of B12 deficiency becomes clear. The progression of B12 deficiency typically follows a sequence. Mild deficiency often begins with fatigue, weakness, and digestive changes. As it progresses to moderate deficiency, neurological symptoms like tingling, balance problems, and cognitive changes become more apparent. In severe cases, these symptoms intensify, and additional issues like anemia, significant cognitive impairment, mobility problems, and even psychosis can develop. Unfortunately, standard blood tests might not always catch B12 deficiency in its early stages. The traditional serum B12 test measures the total amount of B12 in your blood, but doesn't tell you how much is actually available for your body to use. More sensitive tests like methylmalonic acid, MMA, and holotranscobalamin, HoloTC, can detect deficiency earlier and more accurately, but they're not always included in routine screenings. This is why being aware of the constellation of symptoms and requesting appropriate testing is so important, especially if you're in your 80s or have risk factors for B12 deficiency. So why are older adults, particularly those in their 80s, so vulnerable to this deficiency? The answer lies in a perfect storm of age changes that affect how your body obtains and processes this vital nutrient. The most significant factor is a condition called atrophic gastritis, which affects up to 30% of people over 80. This condition reduces stomach acid production, which is necessary to release B12 from food. Without adequate stomach acid, the B12 in your food remains bound to proteins and unavailable for absorption, regardless of how much B12-rich food you consume. Equally important is the age decline in intrinsic factor, a protein produced by the stomach that binds to B12 and enables its absorption in the small intestine. Without sufficient intrinsic factor, even the B12 that gets released from food can't be effectively absorbed into your bloodstream. Medication use, which is common among older adults, presents another significant risk factor. Proton pump inhibitors, like omeprazole, and H2 blockers, like famotidine, commonly used for acid reflux and heartburn, reduce stomach acid production, potentially interfering with B12 absorption. Metformin, widely prescribed for type 2 diabetes, can also reduce B12 levels over time. Other medications, including certain antibiotics, anticonvulsants, and colchicine, can similarly affect B12 status. Dietary patterns common in older adults can exacerbate these risks. As we age, many people experience decreased appetite, difficulty chewing, changes in taste perception, and reduced food intake. These changes often lead to less consumption of B12-rich foods, which are primarily animal products like meat, fish, and dairy. For seniors on fixed incomes, high-quality animal proteins, the best dietary sources of B12, may be limited due to cost considerations. Social factors play a role too. Seniors living alone may prepare fewer complete meals, relying instead on simple, often less nutritious options. Those in care facilities might face institutional food choices that, while meeting basic nutritional requirements, may not optimize B12 intake. Additionally, certain health conditions more common in older adults can affect B12 status. These include pernicious anemia, an autoimmune condition that destroys intrinsic factor, Crohn's disease, celiac disease, and prior surgeries affecting the stomach or intestines. These conditions can dramatically reduce B12 absorption, regardless of dietary intake. The combination of these factors creates a situation where even seniors with seemingly adequate diets can develop B12 deficiency over time. This is why proactive attention to B12 status becomes increasingly important as you advance through your 70s and into your 80s. Now that we understand why B12 is so crucial and why deficiency is common in older adults, let's look at the dietary sources of this vital nutrient. The most concentrated and bioavailable sources of B12 are found in animal products, which is important to know as you plan your meals. Organ meats, particularly liver, are exceptionally rich in B12. Just 3 ounces of beef liver provides over 3,000% of the recommended daily intake. While organ meats may not be a regular part of most people's diets, incorporating them occasionally can significantly boost your B12 levels. More commonly consumed animal products are also excellent sources. Clams, mussels, and other shellfish are among the highest food sources of B12, with a 3-ounce serving of clams providing over 1,400% of the daily value. Fish, particularly salmon, trout, tuna, and sardines, are also rich in B12, and provide the added benefit of omega-3 fatty acids, which support brain health through different mechanisms. Red meat, particularly beef, is another significant source. A 3-ounce serving of ground beef provides about 2.4 micrograms of B12, which is 100% of the daily value for adults. Poultry and eggs contain moderate amounts of B12, with eggs having the advantage of being generally easier to digest for many older adults. Dairy products, including milk, yogurt, and cheese, provide varying amounts of B12 and can be important dietary sources, especially for vegetarians. 1 cup of milk provides about 18% of the daily value, while Swiss cheese provides about 14% per ounce. For those following plant-based diets, it's important to know that plants do not naturally contain B12 unless they're fortified. Fortified foods, including certain breakfast cereals, plant milks, nutritional yeast, and some meat alternatives, can provide significant amounts of B12. Always check labels, as fortification levels vary widely between products. It's worth noting that even with a diet rich in these foods, the absorption issues we discussed earlier can still lead to deficiency in older adults. Additionally, the form of B12 in fortified foods and supplements, cyanocobalamin, is different from the form found naturally in animal products, methylcobalamin and adenylcobalamin, which may have implications for how well your body can utilize it. For seniors with significant absorption challenges, dietary sources alone may not be sufficient to maintain optimal B12 levels, which brings us to the important topic of supplementation. For many adults in their ATS, B12 supplements have become an essential part of maintaining optimal brain health. The good news is that supplemental B12 can bypass some of the absorption issues that affect dietary B12, as it's already in a free form, not bound to proteins in food. B12 supplements come in several forms, each with distinct characteristics. Cyanocobalamin is the most common and least expensive form found in many multivitamins and B-complex supplements. It's synthetic and stable, but requires conversion in the body to active forms. Methylcobalamin is an active form of B12 that's ready for immediate use by the body. Some evidence suggests it may be superior for neurological health and is often recommended for those with nervous system symptoms. Adenylcobalamin is another active form that plays specific roles in energy metabolism. It's less commonly available as a single supplement, but can be found in some high-quality B-complex formulations. Hydroxycobalamin has a longer half-life in the body and is often used in B12 injections. It converts to both methylcobalamin and adenylcobalamin as needed. For most older adults with mild to moderate B12 concerns, oral supplements in the range of 500 micrograms daily are typically recommended. This dosage is significantly higher than the RDA of 2.4 micrograms because of the limited absorption rate of oral B12 supplements, which is typically less than 1% in older adults with absorption issues. Sublingual tablets or liquids may offer better absorption for some seniors, as they partially bypass digestive processes. These are available in all the forms mentioned above and dissolve under the tongue, allowing some B12 to be absorbed directly into the bloodstream through the oral mucosa. For those with severe deficiency or serious absorption issues, B12 injections may be necessary. These bypass the digestive system entirely, delivering B12 directly into muscle tissue. The typical protocol involves more frequent injections initially, often weekly, followed by monthly maintenance injections. These require a prescription and administration by a healthcare provider. When choosing supplements, quality matters. Look for products from reputable manufacturers that undergo third-party testing. USP, United States Pharmacopoeia, or NSF certification on the label indicates the product has been verified for content and purity. It's worth noting that B12 supplements are generally considered safe even at high doses, as excess B12 is typically excreted in urine. However, any supplementation should be discussed with your healthcare provider, especially if you're taking medications or have existing health conditions. While B12 is crucial for brain health in your ATS, it doesn't work in isolation. A comprehensive approach that includes other supportive nutrients and lifestyle factors can dramatically enhance its benefits. Folate, vitamin B9, works closely with B12 in methylation processes vital to brain health. The two nutrients are interdependent. Adequate levels of both are necessary for optimal neurological function. Good sources include leafy greens, legumes, and fortified grains. Vitamin B6 completes the trio of B vitamins essential for homocysteine metabolism and neurotransmitter production. Together, B6, folate, and B12 have been shown to maintain cognitive function better than any one nutrient alone. B6 is found in poultry, fish, potatoes, and bananas. Omega-3 fatty acids, particularly DHA, docosahexaenoic acid, are structural components of brain cell membranes and have been shown to work synergistically with B vitamins to protect cognitive function. Cold water fatty fish, walnuts, flax seeds, and fish oil supplements are good sources. Iron is necessary for the creation of red blood cells that transport oxygen to the brain. B12 and iron deficiencies often occur together and can cause similar symptoms, including lean red meat, beans, and spinach in your diet supports both nutrients. Beyond nutrition, several lifestyle factors can enhance B12 absorption and utilization. Regular physical activity improves circulation, delivering nutrients more efficiently to the brain. Even gentle movement like walking, swimming, or Tai Chi can make a difference. Stress management is equally important, as chronic stress depletes B vitamins and interferes with their absorption. Meditation, deep breathing exercises, and social connection have all been shown to reduce stress levels and support cognitive health. Adequate sleep is crucial for brain function and may affect how efficiently your body uses B12 and other nutrients. Aim for 7 and 8 hours of quality sleep, and address sleep disturbances with your healthcare provider if they're persistent. Cognitive engagement, challenging your brain with new learning, puzzles, reading, or creative pursuits, builds cognitive reserve, making your brain more resilient to age changes. This mental exercise complements the biochemical support provided by proper nutrition. Social connection deserves special mention, as isolation is both common in older adults and detrimental to cognitive health. Regular interaction with others, whether family, friends, or community groups, has been shown to slow cognitive decline independent of other factors. When these elements are combined with optimal B12 status, the results can be truly transformative for brain health in your ATS and beyond. The real-world impact of addressing B12 deficiency in older adults can be remarkable. Throughout my years in practice, I've witnessed numerous cases where restoring optimal B12 levels led to significant improvements in cognitive function, quality of life, and independence. Take Margaret, an 87-year-old patient who came to me with complaints of increasing forgetfulness, fatigue, and tingling in her feet. Her family was concerned she might need to move from her beloved home into assisted living. Initial testing revealed severe B12 deficiency, with levels less than a third of the optimal range. We started her on B12 injections twice weekly, transitioning to monthly after her levels stabilized. Within 3 months, her cognitive symptoms improved dramatically. The tingling resolved, her energy returned, and she was able to resume managing her household independently. 2 years later, she continues to live at home and recently started teaching piano again, a passion she had abandoned when her symptoms began. Then there's Robert, an 84-year-old former university professor who had become withdrawn and confused, showing what his family physician had diagnosed as probable early dementia. Upon comprehensive testing, we discovered his B12 levels were borderline, not low enough to trigger alerts on standard tests, but well below optimal. After 4 months of high-dose oral supplementation and dietary changes, his family reported he was back to his old self, engaging in complex discussions and resuming his memoir writing. These cases aren't anomalies. Research consistently supports the cognitive benefits of addressing B12 deficiency in older adults. A notable study from Oxford University followed 107 people over age 75 for 5 years and found that those with higher vitamin B12 levels at the start were 6 times less likely to experience brain shrinkage compared to those with lower levels. Another study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that older adults with B12 deficiency who received treatment showed improvement in neuropsychiatric symptoms including memory, attention, and mood disturbances. Importantly, those who received treatment earlier showed greater improvement, emphasizing the value of proactive testing and intervention. The scientific literature also demonstrates that B12 supplementation, especially when combined with folate and B6, can slow cognitive decline even in those already experiencing mild cognitive impairment. A 2-year randomized controlled trial found that this combination reduced brain atrophy by up to 30% in areas specifically vulnerable to Alzheimer's disease. These success stories and research findings underscore a critical point. What we often accept as inevitable cognitive decline in our ATS can sometimes be improved or even reversed when we address underlying nutritional deficiencies, particularly B12. As we wrap up today's discussion, I want to emphasize that maintaining brain health in your ATS is not about accepting decline as inevitable, but recognizing that many factors affecting cognition are within your control. Vitamin B12 stands out as one of the most crucial yet overlooked nutrients for brain health in older adults, and addressing its status can yield remarkable benefits. The key takeaways from our discussion are clear. B12 deficiency is extremely common in adults over 80 due to age absorption changes. The symptoms often mimic normal aging or dementia. Testing is simple but must be comprehensive, and correction through diet and supplements can lead to significant improvements in cognitive function, energy, and quality of life. I encourage you to take 3 specific actions based on what we've covered today. First, if you're in your ATS or care for someone who is, request comprehensive B12 testing from your healthcare provider. Advocate for testing that includes methylmalonic acid and homocysteine levels for a complete picture. Second, evaluate your diet and supplement regimen. Are you consuming adequate B12-rich foods? If absorption is a concern, is supplementation part of your daily routine? Remember that for many older adults, supplementation becomes necessary regardless of diet. Third, adopt the comprehensive approach we discussed, ensuring adequate intake of complementary nutrients, staying physically active, managing stress, prioritizing sleep, challenging your brain, and maintaining social connections. These factors work synergistically with B12 to support optimal brain health. The journey to better brain health in your 80s and beyond is one of empowerment and hope. By taking these steps, you're not just adding years to your life, but life to your ears, maintaining the cognitive vitality that allows you to continue learning, growing, and fully participating in the activities and relationships that bring you joy. If you found this information valuable, please consider subscribing to our channel for more evidence-based insights on healthy aging. Share this video with friends and family who might benefit, and leave a comment below about your experiences with brain health as you age. Remember, it's never too late to make positive changes that support your cognitive well-being. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to continuing our conversation about optimizing health in your golden years. Until next time, here's to your vibrant brain and vibrant life.